Welcome back to Low Buck Builds. In today's video, we're going to get this truck ready for the road. First thing we're going to do is get it back in the garage so we can put a new exhaust on it, get the tail light changed out, and probably some rear shocks. So let's get to it. I should have been a fishing YouTuber. Welcome back to Low Buck Builds. In this video, there will be a little bit of voiceover. I'm sorry, but it was like negative 20 out when I first started this video, so I had to have the heater running and I couldn't record audio. So with that said, let's go ahead and start this video. So the warmest I was able to get it was 33 degrees in the garage, and that's with the heater blasting. So the first thing we're going to do in this video is we're going to fix this tail light. I believe it's just a blown bulb, so we're going to go ahead and take it apart and check it out. One thing I love about these Chevys is you just pop the tailgate, and it's 2 screws, and you just pop the tail light out and change the bulbs. It's really easy. So as you can see, the handle is missing, and I have a new handle. It was $8 on Amazon. And we will be installing it later on. I didn't get to it in this video. So let's get this tailgate open with this pull string and get started. So the tailgate was completely frozen, so I had to get a pair of pliers, fight with it a little bit, and give it a couple good smacks, and was able to get it to pop open. So as you can see, there's some good old snow and ice built up. It did get a nice cobalt toolbox with this truck, which was a nice bonus. And over here you can see the 2 screws I was talking about. We're going to go ahead and get those unscrewed and pop this out and take a look at the bulbs. Just one Phillips screw on top and one on the bottom, and that's all you need to pull out, and the lens will pop right off, and you can check the bulbs. Looks burnt out to me. Alright, we got the car in the garage. We're going to get under here and get this exhaust done. Alright, here's everything I bought. Everything's going to be clamp on because I'm thinking down the road I might upgrade this to true dual exhaust. So I want to be able to take everything apart easily. I also have a couple extra clamps and this hanger left over from whenever I did my K10. I'm going to use this to hang the exhaust. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut that tailpipe off, but I think I'm going to hang it first for more support. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. That is a plastic tie-down strap that somebody used to tie up the exhaust. I'm glad it didn't catch on fire whenever I drove it home. But that's not the only surprise we're about to have underneath the truck. So I actually spent some money this time and got a Flowmaster exhaust. I always wanted one. They make a nice little soft rumble under here. So I spent $100 on this one. This is the only one they had in stock, so it's got the offset, which is going to kind of suck installing things underneath, but you know what? I wanted it and I got it. Alright, so this is what I ended up with. So basically I cut about 3 feet off. And then ended up just dumping it right here in front of the tire. Originally I wanted to go straight through, but as you can see the spare tire's in the way. I kind of liked having that. And then I was going to dump it on the other side of this tire. But come to find out, it would have been a nightmare to get around all that stuff. So I ended up just dumping it right here in front of the tire. So I just kind of put this temporary hanger in. We're going to make that a little more permanent when we do the shocks. So The next project is that right there. You can see the vice grips there blocking the brake line back there. But I want to show you guys what happened with the exhaust. It works. I mean, again, we're not doing anything fancy on this truck. So I still got a little bit of a leak up front somewhere. I got to work on that. But today we're doing rear shocks. We're going to do this, I'm guessing probably a caliper is the reason why it's blocked off. So stay tuned. Holy cow, these lug nuts were on there. It's like, geez, I don't know if they were just seized up from being on there for a while or somebody went crazy, but yeah, they were definitely tough to break loose. Alright, let's finish getting this tire off and see what's going on with this caliper and why it's pinched off with the vice grips. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this caliper off. These nuts are seized on here, so I'm going to have to get the negotiator, give it a couple little love taps to get it off, and we'll see what's going on, if it looks like it was leaking. I'm also going to go ahead and pull this old brake line off as well. So we can just go ahead and get this caliper completely off and give it a good inspection. I'm going to leave these old vice grips on here for now just to keep the line plugged until we get the caliper off, get the new one on. I'm hoping the line's not leaking, but I'll get a new line anyway, just in case. There's a caliper. So we're going to go ahead and pop this caliper off and see if we have any signs of leakage. I think we get a brake line on a caliper. But nonetheless, I didn't see signs of leaking, but the caliper wore pretty good. And you know what? At this point, let's just replace it. It's $40, and there's no reason to put it all back together with a new line and find out the caliper's bad anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and go get a new caliper and a new line, and just replace everything. I'm also gonna do new brakes as well. Might as well. We're already here. The brakes didn't look too bad. They were on it, but then again, who knows how long this has been cut off? So they haven't been being used. So might as well go ahead and replace everything. I think it ended up costing me like $110 for everything. Rear brake pads, the new caliper, and new brake line. There we go. So here I'm throwing on the new pads, and then we'll get the new caliper on, and we'll see if it leaks. If it is, we'll go ahead and change the line. I gave the new caliper an inspection, just made sure that all the nuts and everything were tight on it, because you don't want it to throw it on and have the bleeder screw loose or something like that and just shoot fluid out. So give it a quick inspection, grab the bolts, and we'll get it put on. So the first thing I'm going to do here is go ahead and get the line attached, and then after that I'll put it on. So make sure you use the copper washers that come with the kit whenever you put this on, because they're going to have to be pressed in and they'll fill in the empty space and make sure it doesn't leak. And you gotta get these lines fairly tight or they will leak. So you can crank on it quite a bit on these, and it's probably recommended. So for the heck of it, I decided to put the old line back on, and then we'll put the caliper back on and give it a test, because I'm just curious if it was the line. But first I gotta get these vice grips off, and they are seized up. So I gotta grab the negotiator here and try to bust it loose, but I still had to use a flathead screwdriver to get them loose because they were just seized. They've probably been on there for years the way it seemed.
See if it leaks.
Alright, now it's time to throw this new caliper on and see if it leaks. So I will note they were out of the stock style calipers, so I got these quote-unquote performance ones from AutoZone. So they were a little bit more expensive. I think they were $45, but they're aluminum, so they're a little lighter. So now the truck's ready for the drag strip, I guess. But seriously though, it's a caliper. It'll do the job. I did tighten caliper bolts with a wrench. I just didn't have it on video. So here we're gonna fire up and see if there's any leaks. And oh yeah, and the cable shot. It's spraying out of there like a spray bottle. So we're gonna go ahead and grab that new brake line and put it on.
That is not sealing.
So this brake line was $26 at AutoZone. I went ahead and picked it up. I bought the other. I figured if the other one was good, I would just return it. So we're gonna go ahead and install it. It's just the same front bolt, and then in the back you have a second bolt you gotta screw in, and then also a bracket bolt. So we'll go ahead and get this new one put on, and then do another test and see if there's any leaking. So this video is starting to get a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show briefly where the bolts are, me tightening them up, and then we're going to go ahead and test it again. It didn't leak. So then lastly we're going to go ahead and I'll show you a little bit of the air bleeding. I have one of those auto bleeders that I use to bleed the brakes by myself, and then we'll wrap this video up. So you got the front bolt that you gotta put in. Make sure you use those copper washers, same as the last. And then there's another place where it screws in. And then finally back here there's a bracket bolt, and we're gonna go ahead and put that one in. And then once you get the bracket bolt in, then you can finish tightening up with a by hand with a wrench. Again, don't be afraid to get it fairly tight because you don't want it to leak. And then when you check for leaks, you might have to even make it a little tighter. So we'll wrap this up. We'll give it one last test, see if there's any leaks. And as you can see, it's either out of fluid or it's not leaking. So either way, we're going to go ahead and move on to bleeding the brakes. Everything looks good so far, so let's go ahead and get that auto bleeder. So this was the very first time I've ever used a pneumatic auto bleeder. I bought this about a year ago, I think, off of Harbor Freight or Amazon. It's been sitting in a box. I will say that I like the ones that you squeeze better. They're like $26 from Harbor Freight, but this one did do the job. It just seemed to leak a little bit, so it took a lot longer. Eventually I ended up switching to the hand squeeze type, and it took me like 20 minutes versus an hour fighting with the other one, and I got it bled. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. It's getting a little long. In the next video, I'm going to be doing shocks. I got to do the front bumper. We got to check the tie rods. I got a little bit of play in the steering. We also got some exterior stuff to do. So lots of projects coming on this vehicle. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see those projects coming up, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.